Okay, so in this short video, we'll have a look at how we can use text-based filters to just narrow down the details to what we're looking for. So we've got a preview here. It's taking up a bit of space. We're going to hit toggle preview to dismiss that. And I'd like to point out that at the top of each column, you've not just got the name of the column, but you've also got these little filter icons that appear as you approach them. And we're going to use those in a moment. The other one that stays there is the sort icon. By default, when you start the application afresh, the content will be sorted by date with the most recent messages right at the top. But you can actually change that. So if I wanted to sort the to column, a click on the column will now make that the sorted column, and a second click will change the order. So you can just keep clicking that to change the order. So let's have a look at this location name column. I'm working on Tea Tree Trust, and I'd like to filter for all of the messages relating to that project. So I can hit the filter icon here. Now this list ordinarily would be very long. I'm in a demo environment with only a few things in it, but when it gets long, you really need to filter, and so you can type in what you do know into the filter here. It'll filter down, and then I can click on there, and I've got all the messages relating to Tea Tree Trust. That's fairly quick, but there's a much better way to do that. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to reset the view. And what I can do is in the row below, just type in what I know. So I type in Tea Tree there, and instantaneously I get that filtered down based on the location name. So it's looked for the key characters there, TEA, in here. Now, do beware that if you had multiple locations that mentioned TEA, then they would come up too, and that's where that explicit filter becomes more useful. But most of the time, I think you'll find yourself just keying in here. Now that little icon tells me that it's looking for the characters being contained in this column. If we click on there, you'll see that it's doing a contains based filter, but I could say does not contain. So these are now all of the locations other than those containing TEA. So these filters can be very useful in homing in on what you need. So contains, does not contain, begins with, ends with. We default to contains because most of the time that's what you're looking for, but occasionally when you're really wanting to hunt things down, those tools can be very, very useful. I'll reset and we'll look at a different scenario. So let's imagine that we're trying to find a message that involved a certain person. We weren't sure whether it was to that person or from that person, but we know that her name was Helen. Now, you'll see here we've got this all parties column, which is really very useful. So if I type in Helen here, what it's done is it's found messages that are either from Helen or to Helen. Now, I might know additionally it involved a chap called Charlie. So now it's filtering it down further to say, well, these are messages that involve both Helen and Charlie. Let's just clear that. But before we do so, you notice that Helen's name is Helen.J. Mitchell. If I clear that, I can type in Mitchell. And I don't even need to finish typing it. It's now effectively done the same thing and located any messages that mention Mitchell. We'll leave that like that. And we were interested in Tea Tree, so we can type in T here. So we're really homing in now, and perhaps I know that there in one of those messages, or the one I'm looking for, it mentions a zone in the building. So I can type in zone, and it's pretty confident about this one, hence the blue bars. So I can pick that, hit the toggle preview, and here we are. It's doing the keyword highlighting, finding that. Now it also showed this message. If we click on that one, somewhere in here, there we are down there, zone A is mentioned. We'll just reset that, and you may have noticed that there was somebody there called Abigail. So let's say we're trying to find instances of Abigail, and I'm going to type in here Abigail, but I'm deliberately misspelling it. And not surprisingly, we've got no results. Now, it may not be you that has the problem with spelling. It may be a colleague, but often, well, not often, hopefully not often, you'll find that you cannot locate something which you absolutely know is in there, and it will be because of these sorts of reasons. And this is where the tilde character becomes very useful. So on the keyboard, I'm hitting Shift to get that little squiggle character, the tilde character, and if I then type in here T, you'll notice that It's fairly confident about these messages. If I click on this one and toggle the preview, you'll see it's found Abigail, the correct spelling, even though I misspelt it. And that's using that proximity search.